Hey, what's up, everyone? You are listening or watching the My Comic Book Journey podcast. I'm your host, KNDY. And for today, we are going to discuss a graphic novel, pretty much. This one is a collection, a trade paperback, I guess you could say. Volume 1 of Mother Panic, a work in progress. And this one comes from the subprint of Young Animal, or imprint, from DC Comics, Young Animal. And it was written by Jody Houser, illustrated by Tommy Lee Edwards and Shawn Crystal, colors by Jean-Francois Beaulibu, letterer John Workman, editor Molly Mahan. DC's Young Animal was created by Gerard Way, Jody Houser, and Tommy Lee Edwards. So, one of the later titles I've read is Mother Panic from DC Comics imprint Young Animal. This was started back in 2016. The imprint was developed by American music and comic book writer Gerard Way, who was the author of The Umbrella Academy, and stories set in the DC universe, but stories that are created for mature users with a more experimental approach. Mother Panic was created by Jody Houser and artist Tommy Lee Edwards, and the series is set in Gotham City and revolves around Violet Page, a young woman who is a celebrity and a woman with a sharp tongue. One can say that she also has deep issues. She lives with her mother, and who has an early onset of Alzheimer's disease, and her mother lives in what looks like a scene in Alice in Wonderland. By day, Violet hits the social scene, and by night, she is the white clad hero known as Mother Panic, and she tackles the scum that exists in the city. And she's caught the attention of Batman and Batwoman. But Mother Panic is not a superhero. She's a woman that is out for revenge. She carries scars after killing her father after a misunderstanding, and she was put into the Gather House by her older brother Victor, who despises her for what she has done to their father. The Gather Houses was where children were experimented on, and the horrors and abilities that Violet has gained is not yet known. And now she uses her skills to get revenge on those responsible for experimenting on children, but also to use her abilities and her wealth technology to go after corrupt slime and twisted individuals that were also experimented on in the Gather House. The Gather House. Sorry about that. I'm looking at this image, and I'm going to go show you an image from. Um, there we go. Doo-doo-doo-doo. There we go. Mother Panic. Look at the hair as she fights Batwoman. And pretty much, after reading Mother Panic, the trade paperback volume 1, a work in progress, which covers issues 1 through 6, there are pretty much things that I enjoyed, but there are other things that I was not thrilled about. First, let's talk about the good. I love the fact that The Young Animal is a mature and dark comic book series that showcases a character that uses profanity and grit that you don't usually see in a Batman or Robin comic book. It's violent, bloody, in some ways a bit reminiscent to Marvel Comics' Weapon X program, but in this case, children who were taken from their home, taken in for home for troubled children, that is. But instead, they were tortured, mutilated, experimented on, and who knows what hellish experience they had lived for years behind those walls. One scene shows Violet having sex with a guy, and he sees cuts and scars throughout her entire body. But it's also interesting how Violet reacts to certain situations. For one, after having sex with that guy, she cuts her finger intentionally with a razor blade and draws happy faces and blood all over the man's room in hopes that by doing so, he'll never call her again. Also, it was interesting. It was interesting in terms of the confrontation between Mother Panic and Batwoman, and to see her use a f bomb while arguing with her after a short fight. I found Violet's action and profane mouth to be quite interesting, and I felt Jody Houser's writing was quite entertaining, and I really enjoyed that part of it. The artwork by Tommy Lee Edwards was also awesome, and as I enjoyed the illustrations and inking, to my surprise, it only lasted for 2 issues. Shawn Crystal takes over with issue number 4, and the artwork is much different, as it almost resembles a manga style of character design. But I admit that while I was getting so used to Tommy Lee Edwards, I felt the artwork change was abrupt, and it changed again with issues number 7 as John Paul Leon takes over. So I just wish there was a bit of consistency with the artwork, but the thing is, every artist has their own differences, and that's understandable. But I think when you have artist changes so like every 4 issues, it kind of gets a little jarring, especially when things don't look. You get so comfortable seeing how a character looks, but I mean, it's the nature of today's comic books, I suppose. You look back in the 80s or 90s and you see some comic book artists who really stay with a comic book for years, many years. But 4 months or so, it's just not long enough. Um, but again, I enjoyed this series and the gritty anti-hero storyline. I felt it had a lot of potential. The trade paperback also included an afterword by Gerard Way, variant covers, character design, and promotional art, and also the 6 Gotham Radio short stories are also included as well. So, if you're interested in checking out an exciting but yet dark and violent and mature series set in Gotham City in the DC universe, then definitely give Mother Panic a try. Okay, everyone, you all take care, and I will see you later. Wink and a wink and a ah.